coming to you from the Lydia Media Studios in the heart of Lewiston, Auburn. It's Lydia's Lunch Bunch, LA's afternoon morning show with Mark and Sarah today because Pam's away at BNI. Networking, doing the thing, trying to make some money.
Making friends.
So we can stay employed. We appreciate you, Pam.
Yeah, we do.
We're covering news and events in the greater LA area and talking to the people making a difference in our community. Give us a listen at LydiaMediaLLC.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And feel free to share your comments, questions, or suggestions via email at podcast@LydiaMediaLLC.com.
Like Rebecca from Danville Junction. Rebecca, thank you for your question. Spring is officially 30 days away.
Woohoo! What about Maine spring? That's going to be like 60 days away, right?
We all know it's not till June.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks for the question. Today's show is brought to you by United Piping, serving residential and commercial customers with new installations and repairs. Call today and schedule your oil and gas boiler cleanings at 754-4556. UPI,
the best plumbers around.
Also brought to you by Ruper's Beverage and Redemption. When it comes to beer, wine, and spirits, don't botch it, squatch it. At 5 locations in Lewiston, Auburn, and Oxford. Learn more at rupersbeverage.com, and remember, the party starts at Ruper's.
This morning, /afternoon, /evening, whenever you're listening,
/whenever.
We have the pleasure of being joined by Maine Nordiques forward Connor McNaughton, who's number 22 in your program. He hails from Simpsonville, South Carolina, also a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, so we're going to have to get to the bottom of that here just a bit. We also have assistant coach Caleb Labrie making his Lunch Bunch debut.
Welcome.
How you doing, Caleb?
Good. How are you guys?
Excellent. Thanks for joining us today. Is this early for you?
No.
No? Good. Good.
He's chugging his caffeine, though.
I'm not going to call anybody out, but some of your players come in here dragging. I'm not going to mention any names. Not Connor. He just, he's great.
Guys. Not many of us. Yeah.
That's right. We're going to talk all about the Maine Nordiques coming up here in just a bit. But before we get there, let's take a look at some headlines for Wednesday, February 19th.
Just a few more days of February.
I'm going to savor every one.
Drag it out. The Sun Journal reports that the Oxford Helping Hands Food Pantry is scheduled to close on March 6th due to a lack of funding. The pantry provides families with fresh and non-perishable foods. Other food pantries in the area include one at Stevens Memorial Hospital at 193 Main Street in Norway.
The Federal Trade Commission and the Better Business Bureau are warning people about a new QR code scam known as brushing. The code urges you to scan the code to find out who sent you a package, which leads to a fraudulent website aiming to phish information like your bank details or social security number. There was another one a few months before Christmas.
Oh, that's right.
That you were all about because you just want people to send you packages.
I just want packages. Send me stuff. Norway Savings Bank donated $3,000 to New Ventures Maine for small business growth. New Ventures provides grants to enable businesses to create and complete targeted marketing projects that can reach new customers, assist with brand recognition, and increase sales.
And enrollment across the University of Maine system has increased for the 4th straight semester. Spring semester enrollment is up 4.4% over last year. Chancellor Danelle Malloy said the increase is due in part to allowing students to take classes online.
Do you want to talk about the weather?
Weather?
I don't really want to talk about the weather. Today is sunny with a high of 27 and a low of 3 degrees. Cloudy tomorrow with a high of 29 and a low of 6 degrees. And sunny on Friday and Saturday with highs approaching 30 and lows in the teens.
In sports, Central Maine Community College men's ice hockey will host Dartmouth College tonight at 8:30.
The Maine Nordiques host the Johnstown Tomahawks on Friday and Saturday at the Coliseum.
I'm sorry, they host the who?
Oh, I'm sorry. The stinking Johnstown Tomahawks.
There you go.
Friday and Saturday.
The NA3 Nordiques host the stinking Norwich Sea Captains on Friday afternoon. So you get a double header of hockey on Friday at the Coliseum.
Nice.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah. Bates College women's basketball will visit Amherst on Saturday for the opening round of the NESCAC playoffs.
And in high school playoff action in girls basketball, Class C South quarterfinals, number 1 Halldale beat number 9 Poland 64-58. Number 3 Madison beat number 6 Monmouth 65-37.
And in boys hockey, it was Edward Little over Biddeford and Massabesic Old Orchard 7-3, and Levitt Gray New Gloucester Poland Oak Hill shutting out Greeley 6-0.
That is your news, weather, and sports. And right now it is time for the podcast segment that is
Sweepy.
the Twin Cities. It's time for famous people birthdays.
They're famous. It's their birthdays. It's famous people birthdays. It's famous people birthdays.
Let's take a look at FPBs for February the 19th, shall we?
Yes.
All right, we're going to start off with actor Benicio del Toro,
Oh.
who is 58 years old today.
Yep.
Do you know anything about Benicio?
I know I've seen him in a couple of movies. The Usual Suspects was the first time I ever saw him on screen, and he was very funny in that movie.
Yeah.
And then he was also in Guardians of the Galaxy. Those are the two that I can think of that I'm like sticking out in my head. But I know he's done a lot of things, and I know he's quite talented.
All right.
That's
Well,
what I know.
Yeah, I got nothing on him.
You get nothing?
I was hoping you could do the heavy lifting on Benicio.
Yeah.
Justine Bateman is 59 years old today.
Family Ties.
Yes.
And isn't her brother
Jason?
Jason.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was going to say Michael J. Fox, but that would have been incorrect.
Yes, it would have.
That would have been from her TV life.
Her on-screen brother.
Yeah, she played Mallory
Yeah.
on Family Ties.
Yeah.
Seal, the singer,
Did you see that weird,
is 62 today.
that weird Super Bowl commercial with Seal, where they put his head on a seal? It was so bizarre.
That was pretty creepy.
It was so bizarre.
I didn't sleep well that night.
It was so strange. My son and his girlfriend were there, and she had no idea who he was, and she was like, "What is happening right now?"
Yeah.
Like, that's Seal. She's like, "I don't know what that means."
And that was, I don't think the commercials were that great this year.
For the Super Bowl?
Yeah, that's the only one I remember
Yeah,
because
it
it
was
was so disturbing.
Very memorable.
Yeah, Seal has won, he's won 3 Brit Awards, 4 Grammy Awards, and an MTV Video Music Award. And I think his big hit has got to be Kiss from a Rose, right?
Yeah, from the Batman movie.
Yeah, the Batman movie. There you go. Actor Leslie David Baker is 67 years old today. You know him as Stanley Hudson on The Office.
Oh.
Are you guys Office fans?
Personally, no, I haven't really tapped into it.
You're way too young for it.
I've heard a lot about it.
I love The
it's a good
Office. I just never would have thought that Stanley's real name was Leslie. And I don't know
Leslie
why
David Baker,
I don't
yeah.
know why that strikes me as being so funny.
He was on The Office from 2005 to 2013. Let's see, Jeff Daniels,
Oh,
70 years old today.
no kidding.
Have you guys seen Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah.
So, you know that famous toilet scene
Yeah, I
in
know
Dumb and
what you're talking
Dumber?
about, yeah.
So that guy is 70 years old today.
That's insane.
I know Jeff he's had a great career,
Yeah.
and he's been in a lot of great movies, but when I think of Jeff Daniels, all I can think of is that toilet scene. It is
Not terms of endearment.
not Terms of Endearment, not 101 Dalmatians, not Pleasantville.
Oh, he was so good in Pleasantville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Dumb and Dumber.
guitarist Tony Iommi of Black Sabbath
Ooh.
is 77 years old today. Got to see him play live. That was awesome. Over
I
to the
bet.
Ozfest.
Over to the Ozfest.
Yeah. He more than made up for Ozzy Osbourne's lack of spatial awareness.
What are you talking about?
Ozzy had some issues.
Yeah.
Tony was listed, he ranked number 13 on Rolling Stone's list of the 250 greatest guitarists of all time.
That's a different list.
And that list came out 2 years ago.
Okay. They used to do the 100 greatest. Now they're up to
250.
250.
Yeah, there's so many great guitarists.
Okay. I think they just stopped trying to choose and just made the list longer.
Yeah.
Started
Yeah,
adding
they're like,
people to
we're just
it.
going to include everyone
This is just too hard.
because then it's more PR for them. And rounding out FPBs for February the 19th is singer Smokey Robinson, who is 85 years old today.
Yeah. Doesn't he have that great song, Tears of a Clown?
Yeah, that's the
Is
one.
that him?
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's a great song.
Yeah.
That's the only one I can think of.
I don't know who sings it, but there's a song called When Smokey Sings. I think it's about him. I'm going to go with it.
I'm guessing you're
Yeah,
probably
we're gonna
right.
go with it.
He has a great voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now Tears of a Clown is going to be stuck in my head all day. Damn you, ADHD.
Those are your FPBs for February the 18th.
Whether you want a sit-down meal or a grab-and-go, Pat's Pizza in Auburn offers delicious sandwiches, pasta, salads, and pizza at family-friendly prices. Pat's Pizza, serving the LA area since 1985. Open daily from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. at 85 Center Street in Auburn. Online at patsauburn.com.
Now, we shift focus to our guests in studio from the Maine Nordiques. Number 22 in your program, forward Connor McNaughton, and assistant coach Caleb Labrie. The Nords are currently in third place in the East Division, just 1 point out of second and 3 points out of first. They're coming off a weekend where they swept the Danbury Hat Tricks, right?
Yep.
At the Coliseum. Connor, how did that weekend go for you?
About as good as it could have.
Yeah.
It's always nice to get a sweep, especially at home, especially when we're gearing up for the playoffs. Every point's insanely critical, so we'll take it, but we got another couple this weekend we gotta take too.
Yeah, and you guys have 12 games remaining in the regular season. 9 of them are at home, which is pretty awesome, right?
Yeah.
Always good to have a bunch of home games at the end of the season. Tough games coming up as well. You don't play Rochester, but you do play Maryland on February 28th and March 1st. Those are home games, and those are going to be tough battles.
Those are going to be massive, yeah. Especially for the standings. We're right behind them, so it's going to be big.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking forward to it. And Sarah, you're singing the anthem when? Saturday?
This Saturday.
This coming Saturday against the stinking Johnstown Tomahawks.
Yeah.
You can see Caleb behind the bench, you can see Connor on the ice, and you can see Sarah singing the anthem.
What more could you ask for?
What more? What more do you want?
A win would be great, but if we didn't, you got to see all of us.
That's right.
So, what do you want?
It's not a total loss.
Not a total loss. No, we need the W.
Got to get that W.
We got to have it.
Caleb, your first time on the podcast. We're excited to have you. Let's get a little bit of your background and how you became an assistant coach for the Nords.
So I was with Twin City for the last 5 years, the Thunder and the NCDC, and then the team ended up moving this past off season, and Coach Skurlick ended up losing both of his assistants, so we kind of started talking and figured it'd be a good fit. Grown up here my whole life and played for the Nordiques in juniors, so it kind of worked out good towards the end of the summer, and it's been an easy transition in.
Did you play in high school?
Yeah, I played 4 years at St. Dom's.
Right on.
Yeah.
So what do you specialize in? You working with forwards, defensemen, goalies? What's your deal?
So this year I'm with the defense and the penalty kill. Mm-hmm. Previously with Twin City I was doing mainly forwards because I was a forward. So I kind of had to adjust on the fly. Many people around here will tell you I didn't play a lick of defense when I was playing. I was all offense. So it's been good to kind of learn. I work with Stan Moore, who's one of our other assistants, and he's taught me a lot this year about some of those smaller details that you kind of don't think about when you're playing, and then once you get into the coaching world, it shows how important and critical they are, especially in the NA where there's no easy games on any given night. You know, even with our remaining stretch of games, everybody we're playing is fighting for a playoff spot too, so, you know, the guys have done a really good job this year. In our conference right now, we're the fewest goals against, or we're tied with Rochester, but we got 2 games in hand on them right now, so just shows to the ability of the players this year and how they've really bought into it.
Can you talk a little bit about the transition in moving to the North American Hockey League and working with Coach Skurlick?
Yeah, it definitely is like there's a lot more finer details that, you know, Nick's showed me and taught me over even the course of us being together for 5 months. It's just the little things, the little assignments, picking up on certain techniques and systems that the other teams are running that in the NCDC we kind of were able to get away with it if you had, you know, maybe a faster paced team or a more physical team. Mm-hmm. So it's really, even on the power plays, like when we're playing Rochester, I know I got to have a couple different systems that we're going to have because they're going to adjust on the fly. So it's a lot of it's more of a chess match. Everyone's prepared for every matchup. We are very heavy. We do video almost every single day with the guys. So again, it speaks to the players that we have in our program and their ability to kind of learn and adapt, because, you know, we're definitely hard on them about, you know, making sure they're hitting their systems and, you know, playing within our system. But the guys have done a really great job, because obviously, like, beginning of the year for us, we were on the road I think it was 24 out of our first 32, including some of those home games for us were in Minnesota. Between that and injuries, the ability of the guys that have played every game and been with us all season, who stepped up in different roles for us to be in third right now, and we're within striking distance of first. So, it speaks a lot to kind of the culture we have going with our program right now.
Connor, do you get to work with Coach at all?
Yeah, he gets us going on the PK. So it's always fun. Yeah. He does a good job with us. Yeah.
Connor, you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan for some reason.
Yeah, unfortunately.
What happened there?
For some reason.
I kind of got roped into it. It's not really my fault. My family's all from Canada, extended family. So they kind of grew up Leafs fans, and my parents moved to South Carolina in around 2000, and ever since I was born, I just kind of was roped into it. And I've had a love-hate relationship with the team ever since. But I feel good about it. I think this is our year.
Yeah, well.
I hope so. I hope at least. I hope.
How long have you been saying that? How many years?
20 now.
20
now. Yeah, I'll be 21 this August. So, yeah.
As long as you don't meet the Bruins in the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. That's their biggest thing. You just got to get out of the first round, and it's a good step.
Yeah, you just got to have the Bruins play Florida before anything happens.
100%.
Are you guys following the Four Nations face-off?
Yeah.
Are you watching those games? Yeah. What do you think, Connor?
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's some of the best hockey, if not the best hockey I've seen played. The Canada-USA game it's unbelievable. I mean, 3 fights in the first 9 seconds.
It's crazy,
compared
right?
to other sports who are, just doing the All-Star game and stuff. That's why I love hockey so much. It's such a passionate game, and people really show it, and it's fun to watch.
So much better than the traditional All-Star game, isn't it?
Get that out of the game.
So much better.
We're all over that, I think. Yeah.
I was looking up ticket prices for Thursday night's game, tomorrow night's game, the title game between U.S. and Canada. 15th row in the balcony of TD Garden, like the absolute nosebleediest seat you can get. $1,600.
No
insane.
kidding.
And the hotel that you and Nick stayed at when you go to the Bruins, $1,500 for the night on Thursday.
Oh my gosh.
So you can stay there for $1,500 on Thursday or $180 on Friday.
On Friday. Wild.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you following like the Sweden and Finland games at all, or you just watching the U.S. and Canada?
Yeah, I was keeping up with it. Only 4 teams, so it's not a huge tournament.
Yeah.
But no, I think all of those games, they all have superstars across the league, and it's pretty fun to watch.
What do you want to see on Thursday night?
A couple more fights. A USA win would go a long way for sure. And maybe not booing our anthem this time would be nice.
What was up with that?
I don't know.
We were in Canada, right? Like it was Montreal.
Yeah. But booing the anthem, I think, is another level.
It is kind of, Well, I mean, considering the current atmosphere.
True.
Yeah, it's all.
It's all political.
I can see both sides, but I don't know. I didn't. I didn't love it.
Yeah, it was
I
weird.
didn't love it either.
It was weird. Like, I don't care what's going on. Well, maybe I do care what's going on. If you're at war or something,
Right.
But we're playing a hockey game.
We're playing
together.
a hockey game. Yeah.
You got some of your Canadian players on our team.
A little strange. Caleb, you following this tournament?
Oh yeah.
Watching those games? Yeah.
Yeah, me and my buddies played. We had Saturday off this weekend, so we played in the Maine Pond Hockey Classic.
Oh, fun!
And we had the game going on the bench because we missed. They had put everything on Saturday just with the snowstorm coming in, so we had the live updates, and then of course the 3 fights in the opening 9 seconds, and we're all sitting there and we're like, we don't need to play in this game. We can go home and watch it.
That's right. So, we don't want to miss it. Is that
there will be ice next week?
Yeah. Is that up in Rangeley, the Maine Pond Hockey?
No, so it's in Augusta. It's for the Harold Alphon Association, I think, with all the youth, or helps with the youth programs and everything. So we had lost to the same team 3 years in a row in the finals, and we ended up beating them this year. So we were pumped. It was good. So ended up beating the New Jersey guys from out of state. So it's always good.
There you go.
Is Austin Matthews playing tomorrow? Have you heard, or is?
I'm not sure. I think he is. I think the rumor is.
I think McAvoy's the only one that got ruled out.
Yeah, McAvoy's
he's
out.
like an upper.
Yeah, but they got Quinn Hughes coming in, who's arguably their best defenseman. So I think they'll be good.
Right on.
Be okay.
All right.
And we have the Chucks back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your favorites. So I told Sherry, Sherry's my wife, and we're both Bruins fans. And I said, yeah, in the game tomorrow, you're going to be rooting against Brad Marchand and TD Garden and for the Kachucks.
Yeah.
And she hates both of them with a passion.
I hate them. If they fell off the planet, I'd be okay.
It's got to mean they're pretty good if you hate them that much.
They just get under my skin.
But you would, Connor, correct me if I'm wrong, but you would love having either one of those guys on your team, right?
I'd kill for it.
I know.
I'd kill for it, yeah.
I'd like them better if they were on our team.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like them a lot, but I'd like them better.
Connor, what's your eligibility situation now for the NHL? Do you have a year left?
No, this is my last year.
It is your last year, yeah.
So after this, it's off to school somewhere. Finally got to go.
You turned 21 in August. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. A 21-year-old freshman will be a little different, but no, that's kind of the route it kind of goes with hockey. And nowadays, a lot of guys are late bloomers, and college hockey in general is getting older. And no, it'll be good. I'm looking forward to it. I've had a blast in junior hockey, but I'm ready. Yeah. Ready to go off.
Ready for the next phase in your life.
Yeah.
Do you have any preferences for schools or majors?
Yeah, I've got a couple schools I'm talking to. I'm still getting narrowed down and kind of find the best fit for me. Majors-wise, I haven't, maybe business, but I have no idea what I want to do. So I've got to figure that out.
Play hockey?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out on the side, I guess. But
Typical hockey answer.
Pretty much.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I always thought it was strange when seniors in high school, where you have to, if you don't play a sport, you have to decide what you want to do for the rest of your life when you're 18 years old and you haven't even lived yet.
It's so crazy. They graduate in May. They have to ask to go to the bathroom in May. And then in September, you want them to decide what they're going to do for the rest of their lives. It's insane. It's a crazy request of them. I mean, I think it's great that you guys take some time and take your time.
Yeah.
And especially with all the traveling you do. The moving around, different teams, meeting different people, going to new places. You have some life experience when you head off to college. So it's not going to be that much of a culture shock for you, as opposed to someone who doesn't have, who hadn't played a sport, hadn't had those opportunities.
Especially in the hockey world, I feel like it's one of those families that I coach the local Gladiators 16 team. We're going to nationals in the spring, and one of the guys I played with on tournament teams 20 years or 15 years ago now, he's running the tournament, and I saw the name and I was like, oh, no kidding, small world. So it's just one of those worlds that you never know when you're gonna run into someone you played with or against or something from the past.
Other hockey family members.
Yeah.
Caleb, do you see coaching as something you'd like to pursue?
Yeah. So I like I said, I had some injury trouble when I was playing, kind of new. Even in going to school, I ended up doing 4 years and 2. I kind of knew that I wasn't going to be able to make it 4 years just with how my body felt and some of the surgeries that I had had. My last year juniors, one of the ways they got me to come play was I had said to them I knew I wanted to get into coaching, so I want to kind of learn this year rather than focus. Obviously you want to focus on playing and winning with your team, but kind of wanted to, start to get a taste of it. And then my head coach at the time always told me, when I was done, to call him, and ended up calling him as soon as I was done. He linked me up with the guys over at Twin City, and so I ended up going there, and I've loved it ever since. And then me and one of my business partners, we own a training facility, so we do a lot of the youth training around here and help a lot of the local kids out, because the hockey landscape is definitely a tougher one to kind of understand, especially Maine. We're kind of sheltered a little bit because we're up in our own little corner, so it's good to kind of give back and give, the way I look at it, it's kind of giving back for all the people that helped me when I was playing, and then giving kids an avenue to hopefully have the same opportunities to move on if they want to play higher level and get to kind of experience some of the other things that you don't necessarily get playing in Maine. You miss out just because of our population size. So it's definitely been a fun ride, and I'm looking forward to it, especially, this year's been really fun. We had a tough year last year in Twin Cities, so this year it's been like a total flip-flop of like competing for the top 3 spots and the playoff push coming up and, the grind of a season. So I've enjoyed it. I don't regret it. I get to wake up every day and do hockey, so can't have too many complaints
Right,
about that.
Yeah. And when did hockey become part of your life?
So I started around 4. My mom will tell you she did not think I was going to last because I went through, I think, 6 pairs of skates in my first month of playing. I had flat feet, and they didn't know it. So it was, I always used to cry when I was on the ice. So then started around 4 and haven't looked back since.
You figured out the skate situation.
No, so they didn't. I always, every couple years, I'd get new pairs, and I always had ankle or knees or something was bothering me, and I didn't figure it out until I was 18 that I had flat feet. And then once I figured that out, I was like, I should have been doing this when I was 12. I actually started enjoying running and cardio and stuff. So
It doesn't hurt when your arch is supported. Weird.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
It was, I hated going to the doctors and everything, so part of it's my fault a little bit. I was always I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You did figure it out.
Yeah.
Took you.
Somebody look at your feet and go, hey, your feet are kind of flat.
I honestly, I didn't even know. I lived out in Green, so I was every summer barefoot. I was in the woods doing stuff, so I never really thought about it. And then I probably should have made the connection that my feet feel better without shoes and stuff on, and figured it out late in life. So
At least you got there.
yeah, exactly.
It was a long road, but you got there. Connor, you have, 12 games left with the Nords in the regular season, a lengthy playoff run. We're
Yeah.
just going to go out.
Sure.
Just going to say it right there.
Yeah.
What are some of the memories that you're going to take with you from this season?
PK meetings.
On or off the ice?
Either one.
There's so many. I feel like, especially with the group we have, it makes it really fun coming to the rink every day, whether it's a Monday in January or the start of the season or getting ready for the playoff push. It's so enjoyable to be around the guys. So hopefully I'm looking for some playoff hockey in Lewiston. I'm excited for that. That's definitely going to be a memory. I think beating Rochester at home is always going to be something I'm going to think of. That's always a fun experience. Going to the showcase in Minnesota, all that stuff is pretty cool. So yeah, there's so many, especially all the cities we get to visit just week in and week out. It's Caleb said, it's pretty cool to be able to do what we're doing. So I just try to take all of it in.
We had Coach Skurlick on last week, and he said the problem with this
I
team,
was just thinking about that.
everyone gets along so well.
They like each other so much.
They like each other too
we
much.
do.
There's no animosity.
Yeah.
There's
I don't know if he called it a problem. That's my word.
Yeah.
But it's.
I think he did, though. I think
he
he
did.
was saying, there's nobody berating you in the locker room and being like, man, you should have done a better job at that. It's just oh, it's okay, buddy. Good job. You did your best. And,
Besides him.
You guys,
Besides him. But other than
you
that,
guys are so supportive of one another.
Yeah.
Is that different? Is that as compared to other teams and other seasons that you played in? Is this a different vibe in your locker room and in your team?
Honestly, I'm probably not the best guy to ask because my last 2 teams we also had a super, super tight group. So I haven't been a part of a team really in my junior career that hasn't been super tight and great to each other. I've definitely heard horror stories of other places where it's just awful and guys going at each other, but there hasn't been much, and if there is, it gets settled really quickly. So it's really good for the room, I think.
No, because we've had meetings obviously with the captains, and we had a tough stretch. Obviously, injuries played into a factor, us being on the road a ton, and there was just that, the sickness, and all of a sudden, as from a coaching aspect, you have a general idea of what goes on in the room, but you never know the full extent. And every time we're calling kids in, how's the room? How's this guy in the room? How's this guy in the room? And everyone's no, he's good. Like, he's a good dude. And we're just sitting there and we're like, are they just tired?
No, they just like each other.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, I think that's the recipe, honestly. Like, you can take a good room and a good culture and go farther, I think, a lot of times than a team that has a ton of skill, but they're not connected as a group. Like, everyone kind of has their own agenda. And I think, like, again, it speaks highly to our group of kids. Like, we've had goals set from the beginning of the season, and we're working towards kind of hitting those goals. Like, you have your short range, your mid range, and then your end of the season goals. And I think the room's done a really good job. Like, we've been through a lot this year. Like, the injuries, like, every time we think, okay, we get our group back, and then all of a sudden another kid's hurt, and we're bringing in, or we're giving someone else an opportunity, and then they step up, and now, that kid comes back from injury, and we're like, okay, what are we going to do with the lineup now? So it speaks really highly to our group. Like, even the guys that when they're out, they're always at the rink, and they're always in the room, joking around with the guys. So, that's the recipe for building a championship type team. And again, it's a testament to the program and the culture that, I think we've strived to build, but at the same time, like, it's up to the players inside that locker room that holding you guys accountable and stuff like that. I do agree, like, sometimes I think they're a little too nice to each other. Like, you gotta sometimes step up, and even if, you don't have it that night, just being like, hey, I don't have it, I need someone else to step up for me. So, we have a really good group. I have full faith in the team, and I think even when we were on some of our skids and, battling a lot of the different factors with travel and injuries and sickness, the guys have always been, we're going to win tonight. Yep. It's never been, we're losing this game. And like last year, we had a rough year in Twin City, and I think that was one of the biggest differences I've seen between the two groups is, like, there's never a night where you're going into a matchup and you're like, I don't know how we're going to win this. So, the kids have done a really good job with that, and we haven't had really any issues off ice or anything like that. And obviously when you have a group of 17 to 20-year-olds, a couple guys are 21 now, you always in the back of your mind, you're like, I know what I was doing back then. So
it's like a powder keg.
Yeah.
Right?
So this group's been awesome. They make me and Nick's job, like, easy on that side of, not having to worry about anything outside the rink. Mm-hmm. And then obviously, like, I play on the Cops men's league team, so if anything's gonna go on, I tell all the kids, like, I'm gonna be the first to know about it. So don't make me get that call.
So are you on the ice for the charity game?
I was supposed to be on the original, or the one when we played Boston Fire.
Yeah.
I just found out, I think we're in Jersey that weekend for the makeup, so I'll be down with them. It's all right. I'm not a big fan of putting my gear on anymore. So.
It's heavy.
Yeah. Well, and then I just pray to God our guys don't watch me play men's league, because I'm like, they're not going to listen to a thing I tell them that.
Locally owned and locally focused, Lydia Media celebrates the heart of the greater Lewiston-Auburn area through 2 magazines, Uncle Andy's Digest and LA Metro Magazine, and the new Lydia's Lunch Bunch podcast. Each production shines a positive light on local businesses, nonprofits, events, and individuals making a difference in our community. Keep your advertising dollars local and position your business in front of your target audience with Lydia Media. Learn more at LLC.com.
How is Alex Pellerin's face?
He looks good.
Better?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it looks like a hockey player now.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, no.
Oh, that was crazy.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, I heard about that one.
It's the first time for a junior game I've ever been on the ice. So as soon as he got hit, I was like, could see the blood, and I was just like, this isn't good. And next thing I know, I look back and Nick's out there with me, and we're just like, I mean, again, just talking about the players so much, like, went in, he got tested, concussion protocol and everything. He said, I'm feeling fine, passed his concussion test, and we try to be really careful with that stuff. Obviously, like, head's the most important part of your body. We were like, hey, you probably need to go get some x-rays at the hospital. And he's like, I'm not coming out of this game.
Oh,
and
wow.
So I like looked at our trainer, and he's like, all right, let me try to stop the bleeding. So he's got a plug up his nose. He's got his, eyebrows gone. He's got half his face is swollen, his top lip's covering his bottom lip, and the kid's like, I'm not coming out. And then I like get him on the bench. He's one of our power play defensemen, so I'm like, hey, I'm not going to put you out to start the period. I just want you to ease back into it. And then he goes out. He's one of our top D. Like, didn't play scared or anything. And I'm like, that's a warrior.
That's a hockey player.
Yeah. It's not like the old days where you can scream 24/7 and get guys to respond constantly. Like, I think even with the NHL, you see it now. Like, there's a lot more personal connections to the players and having that understanding of what makes a kid tick. But that's the one thing that, like, I've never seen, especially at the higher levels, like, kids aren't pulling themselves from games. Like, we've had kids that, they've had concussions in a game, and we're like, hey, you got to come out, and they want to fight tooth and nail. Like, Greener earlier in the year took a bad hit against Philly. Our trainer was like, we need to pull him just for his safety. He was like, he was sitting there and debating on, like, I can go back out and play. And so then he got all of his gear back on, and we just had him sit on the bench because he was like, I don't want to come out of this game. Like, he's like, even if I'm sitting there, like, I'm with the guys, like, I'm one of our leaders. So it speaks, like, every guy battles. Treppy's one of our captains, and I feel like that kid's taken so many huge hits this year, and every time I'm like, I don't know if he's getting back up. Last week, and he took a kind of an elbow to the head in front of the net, didn't see it coming, and I'm like sitting there watching him, and I'm like, oh boy. And then all of a sudden he gets back up. He's like, give me 30 seconds, and then he's like right back out. So it's
let him shake his hair.
Yeah. So there's a lot of guys, like, even the guys that are injured, like, it's never been like, hey, like, I need a week off.
Right.
It's always, I'm gonna do everything I can to play, or can I practice today? And it's a lot of me and Nick sitting there and being like, look, like, take a day off at least, and, like, just let your body relax. And even some of the injuries now, we've been a little bit more cautious with it, just because, told everyone, like, we need you guys for the playoff push. There's a reason why you guys are still here. Obviously you're gonna have trades and cuts throughout a junior season, and, like, we feel really confident in the core group of guys that we have and the leadership we have from our 04s, and even our 05 and 06s that have matured and developed and been able to learn from so many guys above them that have, everyone has their own experiences. And we have kids that played in the USHL, the BCHL, and everyone's kind of, I think, why the room is so close is they're constantly learning from each other, how to get through stuff. It's such a tight group, and I think, like, all the guys just want to play for each other, and they don't want to ever feel like, they're letting the guy next to them down. And obviously as coaches we try to build that culture, but then again it's up to the players to kind of
whether or not they're going to buy into
run with it. So our group's been awesome this year.
Connor, how have you been health-wise throughout your career? Have you had any incidents like we're talking about?
I've had a couple, nothing too major, just like a broken ribs, broken collarbone, sprained wrist, like broken, like.
If you've broken something, it's major. Yeah. Like, normal people don't break.
Not for a hockey player.
Like,
hockey just go around breaking.
It's a minor inconvenience.
Yeah, like I've never had like surgery or anything. Like, I've been lucky enough in that aspect. But yeah, I just some sprained wrist, sprained ACL, like bad fingers, ribs, like just stuff like that. But it's always been like playable. I've never.
Ice it, tape it, move on.
Yeah, pretty much. I think the longest I've been out for like a certain injury was maybe four weeks, which in this game is honestly pretty good with everything that could happen. So, no, I've been pretty fortunate.
Yeah. I want to do scouting reports now, if you guys are cool with that. I don't think, Caleb, you may not know about this. Connor does. But every time we have Nordiques players on, we have them deliver scouting reports on each other.
Oh boy!
So we'll let Connor go first because he's done this before. So we'll let Connor deliver a scouting report on you. We're going to pretend that Sarah and I own a hockey team, and Connor is our star forward, and we need help behind the bench.
I got you.
And we are taking a good hard look at Caleb Labrie, and we know you guys have some history, Connor. So what can you tell us about him?
Knots, just remember who's running practice today.
I'd say he's a pretty bad coach.
He's the worst.
He's toxic. No, he's awesome. He fits in like so well with our group. Like you said, we have a group that likes to have fun and joke around, and he comes in and he likes to do it more than anyone. So no, he's awesome. He's fun to be around. He keeps it light for us. If we need anything, everyone can go talk to him. He's easy to talk to. He's got our back. Even on the ice, like he'll come up to you and like give you a jab and just keeping it light. And I think it's stuff like that really goes a long way with this group. And when it is time to buckle down and get work done, and he's the first one to come out there and tell us and let us know it's time to get to work. And if he sees anything he needs or he wants fixed, he'll come up and tell you straight to your face, and he'll tell you how he wants it. And I think he has a lot of respect from a lot of guys in the room, especially since he went through it and played, in the program and has been around here for a long time. I think a lot of guys respect that. So
yeah. How does his style differ from Coach Skurlick? Caleb can't wait for this.
Night and day. Caleb's definitely a little more lighthearted. He's a little more fun. You can joke around and stuff with him. He's kind of just like a big brother to everybody.
Yeah.
So he just kind of has that vibe with the team. But no, he's a lot of fun to be around. Can practice go easy today?
Nick's going to be calling me as soon as...
Yeah, I know.
They like you better, man.
Yeah, don't bench me, girls, please.
Two different roles.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
it's got to be the head coach, assistant coach dynamic there as
It's
well.
like mom and dad.
Yeah, like Nick's a vocal coach. Like I've told Nick this. Like I've learned a ton from him. You learn from any coach what you like, what you don't like. So like Nick's the kind of the vocal coach, and then I think I'm more of the, hey, like brush it off, reset. Like let's just get focused. You can't change the past.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna fix your mistake by sitting here and being sad about it. Let's move on. So I think with me and Nick, it works really well. And obviously, like Nick has a lot of trust in me to kind of have that pulse in the room and kind of know what's going on. And then we'll talk behind closed doors. And so we got a good dynamic.
Yeah, it's like good cop, bad cop.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Caleb, you are the coach of Sarah and I's team, the Washburn Taters.
They use a potato for a puck
Yeah.
That's right.
up in Aroostook County.
Sweet tater. And we need some help up front, and we're taking a look at Connor McNaughton. What can you tell us about him?
He's always going to be hardworking. I think the biggest thing to Knott's credit is that we can kind of plug him into any situation, and he's always ready and willing. Like he's been first line through fourth line this year. And I think one of the big things with our team is, we obviously you have your lineup sheet and you have first through fourth, but it's kind of who's going tonight, and that's who we're going to go with. But I think the biggest thing with Knott's is he's very easy to approach, because sometimes you get players that are very defensive about, hey, you can't do X, Y, and Z on this. And Knott's and I think, have a good enough relationship where I'll come up to him, and he's been one of our best PK guys. He's been one of our only guys that's been on the PK the whole year. There's times where he'll come back to the bench and I'll look at him and be like, unreal job. And then there's times where he comes back and I'm like, hey, stick or angle here, or you got to jump on that or whatever. And every single time it's never anything disrespectful. It's just he looks me right in the eyes, and sometimes he'll ask a question and we kind of do it and then we move on. And so that speaks a lot to him and the way he was brought up and the way he carries himself as a player. So he's kind of he's like our pocket knife. He got a bunch of different uses.
Utility.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing with Knott's too is even when he's having a bad day, it's very easy to sit there and why me and everything. And Knott's, I can see it on his face sometimes where he's frustrated with something, and then all of a sudden it'll be quiet and he'll crack a joke. And I think my favorite one was a couple weeks ago. Knott's had gotten taken off the power play, and we're all sitting there, and Nick and I are talking in front of the guys about like who's going to go on this power play rep or whatever, and Knotts is in the background. He's got his glove over his mouth. He's like, McNaughton. So
I'm trying. Power player.
So it's just stuff like that. Like it's never a bad day, and you need guys like that. That no matter how tough it gets, like Knotts always brings the laughter out in the group, and then he leads. He's a guy that's going to lead by his play and his hard-working ethic, and it's been awesome having him this year and working with him, and it's a big thing that I've learned like since I've gotten into coaching is like obviously you want to give back to the players and help them be better than what you were as a player, but then it's also the life aspect of being able to communicate with them about different life situations and then watching them go off and develop into young men and what they do with their lives. So it's been a treat. I definitely sometimes I bully him a little bit with the
too much
jokes.
Too much.
I'm surprised you didn't say the ego thing when injuries.
Oh yeah, I should have. Yeah.
Knotts will get a little too confident sometimes, and I'll peg him down a rung really quick. So.
Oh, we're getting the nitty gritty this morning,
Yeah.
Sarah.
Yeah, all of it.
I love it. The power play guys, they get all the glory, but the PK is where it's
The hardworking guys.
Oh
That's
my-
the blue collar.
Yes, yes. I love a good penalty
That's the
kill.
heart. Yep.
Love it.
We take pride in it.
Skirls gave you guys credit last week, and he said how good.
Yeah,
PK
he did.
was.
It was nice.
So.
It was good for a change.
Yeah.
He's usually on the power play side, but it's always nice whenever you get a compliment.
That's the best with me and Nick is like something bad will happen. You're gonna have mistakes throughout a game.
Sure.
But Skirl's like, if there was one line I could quote from him is when PK, like a switch won't happen or, there's a mistake made, we don't clear the zone. He looks at me and he goes, "What are they doing?" And I'm like, I'm not on the ice. Like I was like, we met about this. Like it happened. So no, we have a lot of fun on the bench and with the guys and everything.
Yeah.
So it's a good mix.
Yeah.
Nice.
Caleb, I want to get your take on this. When you played, what position were you?
So typically I was right wing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, this is a question we like to ask all of our Nords. Would you rather play for 12 years in the NHL as a perennial All-Star and a Hall of Famer and never win a cup? Or would you rather play for 5 years as a fourth liner and win a cup?
Cup.
No question.
100%.
Yeah.
I think you listen to all the players that have played obviously way higher level than I ever did, and just how special it is to win that Stanley Cup. And even like you hear about the guys that talk about it in their careers that are like Joe Thornton, Hall of Famer, and his biggest thing he said is, I'd trade it all for a Stanley Cup just to win once. And like you look at guys like Sidney Crosby and Patrice Bergeron when he was playing, Brad Marchand now, like you just hear about, Boston's been a powerhouse. Obviously we're struggling a little bit this year, but you listen to kind of the mentality of that locker room. And, they talk about all the time with Sid, especially like he came in and was putting up 120 points as a rookie, and then you look at his numbers and, he dropped 30 points, but then all of a sudden every year Pittsburgh was, a top 4 team until like obviously recent years. And his main focus has always been like the team and winning. And that's kind of how I am as a person. Like, I don't really care if we have a guy with 200 points or every guy has 10 points. Like if we're winning games and, we're going deep in the playoffs, like that's what you're going to remember at the end of it. Mm-hmm. The highs and lows of a season. I couldn't even tell you what my stats were in college or juniors, So I remember like being on teams that went to championships, and St. Dom's we lost every year in overtime. So it was but I remember that, and like I obviously you would trade it for a win, but I wouldn't trade like anything else about where I played or anything like that. So
Yeah. Connor, you've answered that question before. Did you take the cup?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. There were, I think, 3 or 4.
You didn't want to be an all-star.
I don't want the glory, Caleb. I'm a humble guy.
PK.
I'm a
PK guy.
Blue
That's
collar.
right.
Yeah.
Blue collar. Yeah, I think 3 or 4 of your teammates chose the Hall of Fame
I'm not
career.
surprised, yeah. You might have to give me some names on it.
Had to be Cos.
Some punches might be thrown. Yeah.
All right. Want to finish up with 3 random questions, Sarah?
Okay.
All right. Well, we're going to finish up the show with 3 random questions with Connor and Caleb. And we'll start with Caleb on this one. Caleb, if you could have dinner with anyone from the past or the present, who would it be and why?
Alex Ovechkin.
Oh.
That was, what did you want me to say, Matthews?
Yeah, it was something.
No, Ovi, he was kind of my idol. He's the greatest goal scorer of all time, and I was never the talent level, but I tried to play exactly like him. So it was, he's been my favorite, like, just to watch, because he has so much character to him too, and he definitely, I'm sure he's probably a fun guy to have in the room around.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know how he's still doing it. I mean, I know he's got plenty of incentive, but my goodness.
Me and my roommate's a big Sid guy, and I love Sidney Crosby. I think he's a phenomenal player. But I made the joke at the beginning of the year that Ovi was chasing the goal race, and I said this year, because I played Pittsburgh, game 82, and I was like, you wait, he's going to score that goal against Crosby just so he has that over him.
Oh, my God.
So
that'd be something.
There'll be a life-size Ovechkin poster in my roommate's room.
Connor, same question. And this could be anybody. Doesn't have to be a hockey player.
Caleb Labrie.
Caleb Labrie.
Yeah.
Could make that happen today.
That's tough. I don't know. Maybe like Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
I like to golf in the summer, and
Yep.
someone who's been that dominant at a sport, I'm sure he's got some good stories to tell. But no, I'd love to just sit down and pick his brain about it all.
A couple of good pointers, too, for your game,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I need to. Maybe I can talk him into giving me a lesson or
There
something.
you go. Yeah. Maybe instead of going out to dinner, we'll just send you out for a couple of burgers
That'd be
at the
great.
driving range.
That'd be awesome.
Right? Yeah.
Do that.
All right, Sarah,
All right.
what do you got?
We'll start with you this time. What movie are you embarrassed to admit that you enjoy watching?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Pitch Perfect. I like Pitch Perfect. Pitch Perfect is a good one.
That was a good one.
But I watched like the Lego Batman movie like years ago, and I'm not super proud of it because I was probably too old to be in the theater, but I loved it. It was actually a pretty good movie. So
Yay.
that's my guilty pleasure.
That's a good answer. How about you, Caleb?
I don't even know. Probably Minions, I guess.
Oh yeah.
I have a little cousin, and I'm never upset if she throws it on. I just think it's comedy. So
That's a good answer,
Yeah.
too.
All right, final question, guys, and we'll start with Caleb. Caleb, if sports were not an option, what would you be doing in life?
Oh God, probably real estate. So I sold real estate for 4 years when I got out of school while I was playing, and then I went to college. So I ended up kind of getting away from it, but I liked it a lot. It was just, when you're 18 years old and you're trying to get someone to trust you to make the biggest financial commitment of their life.
Yeah.
It was definitely a tough learning curve. And then once I started to figure it out was when I went to school and I was seeing some of the checks come in, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to go to school now. So, but it was, I'd say probably real estate, or I have severe ADHD, so it's something that I got to be moving around. That's why sports are awesome for me.
Yeah, sure. Connor, what do you think?
I don't even know.
Greeter at Walmart.
Those are important people too, Caleb. You can't.
They are.
You can't
Oh,
discredit
you'd be
them.
awesome
I'd
at
be
it.
great at it.
Cracking jokes.
Great at it, yeah.
Making people laugh and smile.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe something like real estate. I've always found it interesting. I've never really gotten into it, but maybe that, or investment banking, or something to do with the stock market. I've always kind of had a thing for. So yeah, probably something down that.
All right.
I'd imagine.
That's a common answer for these young men. So it's something in finance
Yep.
or
Yeah.
Business
yeah.
majors.
Business.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Everyone's
yeah.
doing it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great stuff. All right, guys, we'll end on this one. Connor, greatest hockey movie of all time.
Got to be Miracle, right?
Gotta be
Gotta
Miracle.
be Miracle.
Yes.
It cannot be.
Yeah.
That's-
Caleb, you agree?
Yeah. hands down.
Miracle.
All right, how about this? What's the second greatest hockey movie of all time?
I was a big fan of Mystery Alaska.
Dude,
Oh,
were you gonna say that? Mine, yeah.
Mystery Alaska is a
I
bit
feel
of an
like that's
underrated
like
one.
a hidden gem.
That's what I mean. I don't.
I've
feel like
never
a lot
heard of it.
people- No,
No.
You've never heard of that one?
No.
It's like unreal.
it's a pretty good one.
I've seen that one.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
I feel like Slapshot's always like
Yeah.
the easiest.
Yeah,
one.
that's
Mighty
basic.
Ducks.
No one says Mighty Ducks
But
anymore.
Mystery Alaska it's a hidden gem.
It is. It
All
really
right,
is.
I just wrote it down. I'll be watching that
Yeah,
today.
give it a try.
That one's from the 90s. I remember that one.
Caleb, you agree?
Oh,
The
yeah.
Mystery Alaska. All right. Well, there it is. It's unanimous. All right.
taste.
Yeah. Guys, thanks so much for your time today.
Yeah,
thanks for
thank
having
you.
us.
Much appreciated. It was a lot of fun, and best of luck this weekend and beyond as the Nordiques are officially in the playoff push now. Every game is important. Every point matters, and we're going to be cheering them on to the Robertson Cup playoffs, and can't wait. Don't forget, folks, you can log on to LydiaMediaLLC.com and enter to win tickets to go see the Nords play at the Coliseum, so you can go to the game on us, and who knows, you might see Sarah singing the anthem.
Oh, I'll definitely be there.
There you go. We want to thank our sponsors for today, Ruper's Beverage and Redemption and United Piping. And if you'd like to be part of the Lydia's Lunch Bunch advertising family, reach out to Pam via email at pam@lydiamediallc.com.